Proudly Plum, 104.1 MedFM, the beat of life.
Today we're looking at the seller's role in a property sale. We are speaking to Cleopatra Mukhari. She's a conveyancer. What is the seller's role in bond cancellation?
With regards to the bond cancellation, that is usually the bond, the current existing bond on the property. If there was a bond on the property registered and it has been settled, or there is still a bond but it hasn't been settled, then that amount needs to be settled. And furthermore, a bond cancellation needs to be registered at the deeds office, regardless of whether the amount was previously settled, but no formal cancellation was made. Now, the seller becomes liable for that and also becomes liable for the bond cancellation attorneys.
Okay, and then what is the seller's role when it comes to municipal rates and taxes?
With the municipal rates and taxes, during the property transfer, the local municipality, and for example in Bloemfontein, that would be Mangaung, they would issue us with the rates clearance figures. Those would be the current outstanding rates and taxes. Sometimes clients would tell you that, but their rates and taxes are up to date. When we request for the clearance figures, we will still get a certain amount because it's future dated, the amount that they give you, because now they are aware that you are busy with the property transfer. The seller will be liable to pay those clearance figures. Unfortunately, those figures will have to be paid upfront in order to enable us to obtain the rates clearance certificate from the municipality, as it is one of the documents that needs to be lodged for registration.
And if there is any levy figures applicable, what is the seller's role then?
Okay, levy figures are very similar to the municipal rates and taxes, only the levy figures is from the body corporate, or a homeowners association in the case of an estate. So levy figures will be present for all sessional titles. And with sessional titles, there will be a body corporate, and they will also charge you for their levies. For us to be able to transfer sessional property, we need the consent of the body corporate or the homeowners association. And before they give that consent, you have to pay the levy figures. Some body corporates are fine with you paying the levy figures on dates of registration, and then others would also want it upfront.
Another thing, a point that is always coming up is the estate agent commission. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, with the estate agents commission, and I don't know if most sellers are aware, that's usually where most of their costs are involved or where they occur, because with the estate agent commission, they charge you for their services, but those funds will be deducted from the purchase price. Some estate agencies will tell you a certain percentage, and then others will give you a specific amount that they want. On date of registration, when we receive the purchase price, the first thing that a conveyancer or transferring attorney does is we first pay the estate agent from that purchase price, and then the remainder will go to the seller. So sometimes sellers are also not aware of that. And that's where they think they will get the whole 1 million because they sold the property for R1 million, but it's 1 million minus the estate agency fee, for example.
Yeah, and that could amount to a lot of money.
It does, yes, sometimes it does, especially if you didn't prepare for it, or were not aware of it.
Yeah. And another thing is also that you must take, as a seller, take into account is the repairs in the house.
Yes. Usually you will see this in the sale agreement. It will form as one of the special conditions. They might say that before date of registration, you must fix the cracked window, or a broken door. Then that is for the seller to fix before date of registration. That's also an expense that they incur.
The seller is also liable for certificates, like the electrical certificate. Could you tell us about that?
Okay. With regards to the electrical certificate, This is also another compulsory thing that we need to obtain before date of registration. The electrical certificate merely confirms that the electrical wiring on the property is in order before we may transfer. When a seller obtains an electrical certificate, that certificate is valid for 2 years. So if your certificate is older than 2 years, or within the 2 years, certain electrical changes were made on the property, then it is no longer valid, and then the seller will have to obtain a new one. But let's say the seller, because at some stage the seller was the buyer, and on date of registration, they obtained that electrical certificate, and 6 months down the line, they decide to sell that property. Then that electrical certificate will still be valid, and there's no need to use the services of an electrician again for another one.
Any other certificates?
Yes, I just would like to bring a specific difference between an electrical certificate and an electrical fence certificate. An electrical fence certificate is for if you have an electrical fence around your property for security purposes. That certificate is different from the electrical. The electrical certificate is commonly known as the COC. Compliance certificate, and then the electrical fence certificate is different from that. So that's the one thing that sellers need to be aware of, that the one does not cover for the other. Then if you have any, let's say a gas stove in your house installed, if you have a gas stove installed in your house, then you also need a gas certificate for that. The gas certificate confirms that the gas lines are also in order. The other one is the entomology certificate. That is more applicable in properties in the coastal area. It's also commonly known as the beetle certificate. That certificate confirms that your house has not been infested by any beetles. And then the other one that I can just bring up is the plumbing certificate, although that one is only required in Cape Town, and that confirms that the plumbing is in order.
This is in Cleopatra Mukhari. And if property sellers or buyers are not certain about their roles in a property transaction, they are more than welcome to contact the property department for advice. If property sellers or buyers are not certain about their roles in a property transaction, they are more than welcome to phone the next numbers 051 400 4000 or direct line 051 400 4105.
Proudly Bloom, 104.1 Med FM, the beat of life.